Hello, my name's Alexander White, and today I wanted to share with you a little drum distortion technique that you can use to thicken up your drums, make them sound a little fatter, a little more powerful, and also add loads of glue to the drums to make them sound like they're even more of a cohesive whole. The thing with drums is they are both simultaneously one instrument and also a collection of instruments. Because all of the drums make such different sounds, it's why we've ended up multi-miking things, because often you want to bring out different features of that particular part of the instrument. If we take, say, for example, an acoustic guitar, it's got one sound generating box. So where you move a microphone around an acoustic guitar to find a nice position, well, you're only trying to get that one hum that's generated from the main body. Absolutely, you can accentuate other little parts of the instrument that are making incidental noises like strings or, by the headstock where it would be especially thin, but really the body of the sound is coming from the acoustic guitar. On the drums, the body of the sound is coming from a kick drum, but it's also coming from a snare and toms, so you can see why it gets complex. The thing is, with lots of multi-miking and lots of just individual mics on the drums, you can sometimes feel it all becomes a bit disconnected. And when you hit play, it doesn't sound like a big, cool foundation for your track. It actually sounds just disconnected. Well, this is a really good technique that you can use to solve that problem. So let me play you some of the track that we'll be looking at. This is an unmixed track, and I'm going to just be adding this distortion process in straight away. As for when you add this in, you can do that at the start of your mix, or you can do it a bit later on. It doesn't really matter where you bring it in. It's just where you feel like you would like to bring it in, if it's necessary. Okay, so let's have a little look at this track and then I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the drums and I'm going to send them to a bus. So I will send them to DST for drum distortion. This little equals sign, by the way, is just a thing I do. It's just, for me, shows that it's a bus track, and it means when I'm looking at the names on my control surface, if the name starts with an equals, it's really quick for me to see that it's a bus. So it's really just a functional thing. It doesn't mean anything. And I'm going to send it from send 4. Send 4 because the first 3 sends are filled up on here, I think, with just sends to some reverbs. So there's our drum distortion track just turned up here. So the next stage is to, I'm just going to colour it the same colour as the other drums. The next stage is to send my drum mix as it is to this drum distortion track. At the moment, because it's not got this little P button pressed, which would be pre-fader, at the moment all it's doing is it's picking up an exact copy of where my faders are here. So in other words, if I was to turn the overheads completely down, then this track wouldn't hear the overheads either. It is picking up exactly my mix of the main drums and sending it to this track here. So just to be tidy, I will add my channel strip in, but it's totally not doing anything. It's just sat there just in case I need some EQ or something. So this is the thing that we're going to be doing, which is I'm going to choose a distortion. Try different distortions. Different distortions actually have quite different characters, whether it's a tube distortion or, say, a transformer distortion, that kind of thing. They all have a different character, and you never know which one is going to be right. So don't just pick one and use it endlessly. Just occasionally try different ones. You may pick one that you find works often, but it's worth checking if you're ever having any trouble. They all have different characters. So with this one, I'm going to hit play and I'm going to hit solo on this track so we can hear the distortion on here as the plugin is loaded up. Pretty crazy. So that's not what I want to do with this track. What we're going to do is lower the distortion first of all, and then I'm going to actually filter it quite far off. I don't want too many cymbals. This is mostly about mid-range and lower end stuff, mostly the mid-range. So I'm going to hit play and I'm going to adjust this plugin until I hear roughly the kind of sound that I'm looking for. All right, now I did a little A-B there so you could see the difference between the two sounds. This is one of these things which is really obvious. It's a hugely affected part. So now what I'll do is I will take that out of solo, we'll play the track again, and I'm going to bring this in slowly until I start to hear that texture and sort of come into the track and start to make those drums sound a little bigger and a little thicker. What we shouldn't be really hearing is, we shouldn't be hearing it as overt clear distortion. It should just sound like a thickening and a gluing and a gelling and all those kinds of words that we try to use to describe music, which sometimes just is pointless, and you know, it's very difficult to use words to describe sound. Anyway, let's try this. Feels like somewhere around there. So I was doing a little bit of A-Bing, but let's do a little bit more and see how far we can push this really, and to get the effect that we're after. And now let's have a listen to the drums in solo. I like where that sits. That's exactly the kind of texture that I would like. And I hope you can hear how it makes the drums sound a bit meaner, a bit more glued, a bit more as if it's one complete instrument. Just another little step in our mix that we can take just to make everything sound a bit more exciting. So let me solo up the drums, and I will show you what this actually sounds like in solo now. So here it is with, and then I'll switch it off after a couple of bars or something. So I love doing this little technique. It works so well on so many tracks. It isn't just about working on rock tracks either. This is going to work on any track, whether it's an electronic track or a hip hop track, you name it. It'll even work on softer acoustic tracks if you blend it in just a little more quietly. As you can hear, it doesn't seem to suddenly make the drums sound like there is distortion. It's not that sort of thing. It blends and glues and adds weight and adds power. And that's really exciting. So please let me know in the comments whether you've tried anything like this before, whether you like doing this sort of thing. If you haven't, please let me know. If you do try it, I'd love to hear about it, because it's one of my favourite ways of shaping drums in a mix and getting them to sound thick and gooey and punchy and, you know, energetic. Thank you ever so much for watching, as always, and I will see you on another video very soon.